Good evening, welcome to the Buck Stops here. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the program this evening, 4 people accused in the rape of a telephone operator at Shakti Mills in Mumbai are sentenced to life imprisonment. 3 of these men are also guilty of the gang rape of a young photojournalist in the same area. Their sentencing for this gang rape comes up on Monday. On the program this evening, will speedy justice in fast-track courts make India safer for women? Also coming up, Jaswant Singh, the senior BJP leader, is denied a seat from Barmer in Rajasthan to contest in the Lok Sabha elections. He says he may contest as an independent. Earlier, the BJP had trouble with LK Advani. But if the BJP is looking at possible changes to its old guard, the Congress party seems to be bringing back its old guard in a big way. Amrinder Singh will contest from Amritsar, Ghulam Nabi Azad from Udhampur, and Ambika Soni from Anandpur Sahib in Punjab. But first, our top story. It was a case that stunned the nation. A young photojournalist out on assignment gang raped at Shakti Mills in Mumbai. But she wasn't the only one. Hearing of the news of the journalist, a young telephone operator came forward. She too had been gang raped, in fact by 3 of the same men, just a few weeks earlier in the same place, Shakti Mills. Today, there was justice for the telephone operator. 4 of her attackers were sentenced to life in jail. And on Monday, there could be justice for the young photojournalist when the court delivers its verdict in her case.
Vijay Jadhav, Qasim Bengali, Salim Ansari and Mohammad Ashfaq sentenced to life for a crime the court says reflected the depravity of the rapists, adding it was a premeditated criminal conspiracy and a really pathetic crime. It also said it had to respond to the cry of the victim and the collective consciousness of society, and leniency would be a mockery of justice. The convicts told the court they had families to look after. Mohammad Ashfaq wept when he was called to the witness box. The lawyers argued in court that the accused were also victims of the social system that did not give them even basic opportunities in life. They also blamed technology which gave them access to porn, which further corrupted them. Meanwhile, the sentencing in the other case, the photojournalist gang rape case, will be on the 24th. After the prosecution told the court they wanted to amend charges against 3 of the accused.
फोटो जर्नलिस्ट की केस में हमने 376E इसलिए लगाया है कि इनमें से जो टेलीफोन ऑपरेटर के जो 3 अभियुक्त जिनको सजा हुई है, वही 3 आरोपी ने 22 अगस्त को फोटो जर्नलिस्ट पर रेप किया था. इसलिए हमने कोर्ट को दरखास्त की है कि इनके ऊपर एक अमेंडेड एनहांस पनिशमेंट के लिए चार्ज लगाया.
While the 4 convicts in the telephone operator gang rape case have been sentenced to life, the focus is now on whether the court accepts the prosecution's plea for bringing amended charges against the 3 common accused in both the cases, Salim Ansari, Qasim Bengali and Vijay Jadhav, under section 376E of the Indian Penal Code, which also facilitates the death penalty for repeat offenders under the new law that came into being post the Nirbhaya case in New Delhi. The prosecution argued that the convicts were demons in human form and the crime was brutal in nature. The public prosecutor told the court that the rapists were habitual criminals and were shedding crocodile tears in court. The court has rejected the defense arguments and upheld the prosecution's plea for strongest punishment possible. It said the court cannot ignore facts and punishment has to be commensurate to send a strong message. In Mumbai, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
Well, a big step forward in the fight to ensure that women in India are safer. Certainly women in Mumbai. Joining us now, the man who led the investigations in this case, the head of the ATS in Maharashtra, Himanshu Roy. Flavia Agnes, the lawyer and women's rights activist with us. Ujjwal Nikam, who is the special public prosecutor in this case. And also on the phone line, Suzette Katrina Jordan, the Kolkata Park Street rape victim. Now, she is a rape survivor and has chosen to come forward. She has identified herself in the recent past. She says she doesn't just want to be known as the Park Street rape victim. She wants to be known as someone with her own name. She wants to move beyond what she suffered. But let me go across to Himanshu Roy first. The fact that there has been sentencing today, there will be more sentencing on Monday. Do you believe that in a city as large as Mumbai, a message has been sent out? Or is this just a small step forward? Because when it comes to crimes against women, as you know, there are so many attacks which take place but are never reported.
Good evening, Vishnu ji. Yes, I think a very strong message has been sent out by this speedy trial and conviction in just about a span of 7 months. We have one sentence and we'll get another in the coming few days. For the city as large as Mumbai, and for the claim that we lay that we are the safest city in the country for women, I think this has been very important. A very strong message has been sent not only to Mumbai but to the entire country. Would-be criminals would do well to take note of this case. And I think for the women of Mumbai, they have all been looking at this case, waiting anxiously for the result. And I think the shine is back on the image of the city.
Mr. Nikam, you are going to push for further action or further penalties against those who are accused in the attack on the photojournalist. The sentencing in that case comes up on Monday. Are you pushing for the death penalty, sir?
It would be too premature to say anything, because at present my application for adding the charge, as 3 accused have committed repeated offence, and therefore I am asking that additional charge be framed against them so that I can advance my submission. So I don't like to comment at the juncture whether what appropriate sentence I should ask. Let the court allow my application, then only I would be in a position to advance my submission.
Flavia Agnes, do you believe that this constitutes the rarest of the rare, that there was this horrific attack not on one but on 2 women by largely the same group of men?
Well, the law provides for it, particularly the amended law, the Criminal Law Amendment 2013 provides for this. Now, whether this is a fit case, as a test case, as a trial case, it is not for me to comment. As Mr. Nikam has rightly pointed out, because the judgment has come in the first case only today,
yes,
and only today the application could have been made. It is not a repeated offence that one person was convicted and then they committed the murder. It is a case where 2 rapes were committed simultaneously, one after the other, and the first one came to light only after the second. So, as per the 376E, the application,
yes,
as a repeated offender who has already been convicted and then commits another rape, whether it comes within the ambit is quite. I have my doubts about it,
yep.
And Mr. Nikam is right in saying whether the court will accept his application. Only after the application is accepted, the arguments will be advanced, and the defense lawyers will have an opportunity to also reply to these arguments, and then the court will decide. So I wouldn't say this is the rarest of the rare under the present situation, under the amended law, because it has gone simultaneously and not sequentially. After one conviction, then the same person commits another offence. So let us see what the court, it's an interesting point, and it's for us to wait and watch what will happen in the court.
Mr. Nikam, you want to tell us a little bit about 376E, the additional charges, the point that Flavia Agnes makes, that both of these crimes took place sort of simultaneously or near simultaneously, or do you believe, on what grounds do you believe that 376E applies in this case? Could you just give us, could you explain this for our viewers, sir?
Vishnu, frankly speaking, this is for the first time in our country after the amended law, so far as section 376 is concerned. We are the first state to invoke this type of provision. Now, the first incident of gang rape which had occurred on 31st July, and 5 accused are held being guilty in that case. And out of 5, 3 accused, the same accused, 3 accused coupled with 2 other different accused, have committed another gang rape on 22nd August on a photojournalist case. So, technically speaking, we have complied the mandate as required under section 376E, yes, that is previous conviction.
Yes.
Of course, it would be a matter of debate whether the case squarely falls with the category of rarest of rare or not, and whether this new provision of amendment. But certainly, I must tell you, and frankly, in view of this new amendment provision, there is, of course, I have made a reference also in the open court, saying that why victim is required to give a statement thrice. First statement before the police, again a new amendment requires his victim should give a statement under section 164 before the magistrate, and third is the court. Why this addition of 164? That is really troublesome to the victim, and I made a reference in the open court saying that this new amended provision so far as victim should state, because if victim gives the statement in some different manner, then certainly the accused will be benefited by a contradiction or omission. Fortunately, in these two cases never had happened, because Mr. Himanshu Roy and his police team have taken a lot of pains in having the consistency in the statement.
You raise an important point, but Himanshu Roy, let me ask you this. The presence of juveniles in this case, there was, of course, the Nirbhaya case and the presence of a juvenile in that attack as well. You know, as you police Mumbai and you look at the issue of juvenile offenders in very serious crimes, is this part of a larger concern? That crimes and the most serious crimes among juvenile offenders in your city is going up?
I'm glad you raised this point, Vishnuji. In this case, in both these cases at least, I have personally interrogated all the accused, and I can tell you the role of the juveniles, both of them, is not less heinous than those of the other accused in this crime. Now, given that rape is an adult crime, it is not a crime which by definition can be committed by a child. And given that heinousness has been and depravity is there in the act, it seems unjust that they get 3 years while the others, they get life imprisonment or even more. Now, I for one have been a votary for, even on your channel I have aired my views before. I have been a votary of reducing the age of the juvenile to 16 in such crimes, in cases, in adult crimes such as rape. And I think that we must take it up from here onwards. This is an important issue. I know that I have been shouted down by human rights activists and all kinds of social scientists and do-gooders, but I will stand my ground and I say that juveniles who commit this kind of crime, their cutoff age must be reduced to 16 or less.
Yeah. Flavia Agnes, do you agree with that? Because it's, you know, we see the role of juvenile offenders in so many parts of the country. Nirbhaya maybe highlighted this to a certain extent, but certainly over here as well. So the entire argument, I mean, it's so tricky, it's so difficult. On the one hand, the process of reform for a young person needs to exist. We are at the end of the day a humane society despite the viciousness of these attacks. On the other hand, if you are trying to send a message of deterrence also to young juveniles, then surely juveniles need to be punished further. Where do you see this argument?
Well, there are 2 or 3 points I want to make. One is connected with this, but I also want to respond to Mr. Nikam's point and Mr. Roy's point on some different subjects. But about this point, there was a Verma committee report, and even the Verma committee report did not subscribe to the lowering of the age to 16. There is also the Criminal Amendment Act. At that time, again, this issue was discussed. And what the judge can do is what the law prescribes. It's not for the general public to say what the judge ought to do. It's not even for the police to say what ought to do.
I'm not talking about what the judge ought to do. I'm talking about, you know, after the Verma Commission report, ma'am, and the fact that he said that the existing laws, by and large, when it came to juveniles, need to be maintained, the argument about the role of juveniles, it remains. So I'm asking you whether there need to be further additions in the law to deal with so-called adult crimes. Rape is an adult crime.
I think there is a review committee even now looking at this.
Yes.
There is a review committee looking into it even now, because the Women and Child Development Department has also again asked for a review. Now, in my opinion, the age should not be reduced. I belong to what Mr. Himanshu Roy has referred to as the do-gooder types or social worker types. I belong to that category, and I think we have to take it in a broader context, and we have to see the societal situations which induce this crime. Because tomorrow, if a boy of 15 commits a crime, who is also capable of committing rape, then again we'll say the age should be reduced to 14. And if a 14-year-old commits, then we say it should be reduced to 12. So where does the buck actually stop?
Right.
Are we then going, and according to me, this deterrent punishment of a death penalty or whatever is not going to solve a problem. But here I want to mention one particular thing. In fact, Mr. Nikam's statement that came in today's paper, the victims were confident. Again, he made that statement, victim was confident. And I feel a criminal justice system in its humanity and its humane approach must look at the victim much more. The victim is not satisfied only with a death penalty or life sentence. And today, if in this particular case, both Mr. Roy and Mr. Nikam are aware of a victim support program that my organization runs, which is Majlis,
Okay, this is, thank you, ma'am, for making this point. I want to stop you there. One moment, Flavia.
Because of the support.
There's a reason I want to stop you, because you raise a very important point. And we've got Suzette Katrina Jordan on the phone line from Kolkata. She is somebody who has gone through an attack like this, who's chosen to come out of the shadows, to identify herself and say that there is a process of moving on. Suzette, thank you so much for speaking to us. The process of justice against those who have been attacked so viciously obviously continuing. How do you feel when you see that the fast-track courts which exist now in this country to deal with rape cases seem to be working? Suzette, can you hear me?
From a slut walk that I attended today with other citizens of my city to fight for justice and to speed up a fast track court that doesn't seem to be so fast. So I couldn't really say how it feels, because I'm still waiting like everybody else, and I'm in hopes that this happens soon. So it's really depressing to know that every other state has moved on and is doing something about protecting their women.
Suzette, but tell us about your own decision to confront head-on what happened to you. You chose to come out of the shadows. You chose to speak out about this. You chose to regain your own identity. Is that something that you would urge or recommend on others who have been attacked in the manner in which you have?
I think yes. I think every woman should first think of herself, then of what others might think. Because either way, even if you hide your identity, you still have people trying to kind of goad you or attack you on a constant level. So how does it matter if you reveal your identity? You still have to fight. And the only way you can fight it is with all the dignity and pride that you have left. And you owe that to yourself, I think, as an individual.
Are you also therefore talking, and I know you talk from your own experiences, but the entire issue of identifying yourself and then having people still point fingers at you or still say, oh look, this is the person who was attacked, and stereotypes often being attached to people who have suffered so much, is that still a major concern, a major threat?
Well, no, not really, because there will always be people who will attack you, and there will always be people who will put an obstacle in front of you so that you don't move forward or dismiss you. But then again, with all that's happening and all the solidarity that everybody's showing and the constant debates and the questioning that we have, I think we stand more of a chance of a change than of losing.
Mm-hmm. Himanshu Roy, let me just read out what one of the defense lawyers actually had to say in court, and he said, they are victims of society, their poverty must be treated as a mitigating factor and they must be reformed. A lot of people would say that those who are on the fringes of society, so to speak, again the lawyers use this word, are not exposed to the law in the manner in which they should. There are cultural, social, economic reasons for attacks like this taking place. How do you respond to that argument?
Well, there is no doubt that these offenders were fringe elements of society with very little stake in mainstream society. Having said that, it cannot be a mitigating circumstance or an excuse to commit this kind of crime, because if that were taken as a mitigating circumstance, it should be a mitigating circumstance for every poor person, every humble person, every person of inadequate means. And then if they commit crime, they should be looked at in the same ratio as these offenders are. So obviously the law cannot discriminate between two people who have committed the act. The law does not allow that. And quite rightly, the Honorable Judge has rejected this argument of mitigating circumstance, in my view. And for the law has to be seen to be upheld firmly and justly for all. And that's how it is.
Mr. Nikam, again, another quote which was used in court. They are poor slum dwellers, always deprived of rights and have had no proper education. Pornographic content is easily available due to advances in technology. And with that, anyone can deviate towards criminal activity. You know, you could call this the desperate effort of a lawyer trying to protect his client. But on the other hand, others would say that, look, this is an argument.
Of course, this was strongly argued on behalf of the accused lawyer in the court. But I pointed out to the court the manner in which all these accused had committed a crime and how it was their regular business. Because we established the fact that before committing the gang rape, these two accused who had initially caught hold, they called their colleagues on mobile using the word "Mal aaya hai, fatafat spot pe aaja." So they were treating the girl as a property which is to be looted. Not only this, they committed the gang rape in such a different fashion, in a different manner. I can't describe. Even I can't describe it in the court. I said, and on camera, certainly it was next possible for me. But certainly I told the judge, the reformation, Flavia may not agree with me, but I must tell you, since she is an activist leading lawyer, but reforms can be brought only in corrigible elements, not in incorrigible elements. See, they enjoyed the whole act of the rape. Their depravity, the shamelessness has some limit, but they have crossed all the limits. I have enumerated 5 grounds and I said these are the aggravating circumstances, and absolutely they came from a lower strata and then poor family. All these are the stock grounds which normally accuse advance when they are being held guilty. So court has rejected their all contention.
Last couple of questions.
I just want to come in here.
Yeah, okay, fine. Flavia, go ahead. Yes.
I just want to make this point to Mr. Himanshu Roy and Mr. Nikam that my concern for these two girls from the day the FIR was lodged till today in court, we have been consistently with the two girls, providing them emotional and all other kind of support, which Mr. Nikam is aware and which Mr. Himanshu Roy is aware, and it would have been appropriate for them to appreciate our role in this meeting. So I am not here as a lawyer for the accused person, for God's sake. I am here for the victim and I work for support of the victim. Whatever I say outside of the framework of the law is that maybe my opinion on that, how criminals should be treated in this society or any civilized society, that is beside the point. My question is how the police, including the top police brass, the media and the whole barrage of the media attacking these girls, and they had to come to the court in burqa in order to protect their identity, and how everybody has taken advantage of the situation, how even in the court, including Mr. Nikam, made it a spectacle and talked to the media even in matters of in camera. So my concern for the victim is paramount, and I'm here with Suzette that when a woman goes through it, not as a victim but somebody who has been violated by the system, by the entire justice system, I think there is need to stand beside her. And I congratulate Suzette for coming out in her own identity, and she needs that kind of support when she goes to court and when she's questioned by defense lawyer. Even a person like Mr. Nikam cannot support this girl because she needs a different kind of support. And I urge the state and I urge all stakeholders in the criminal justice system to take this point very seriously, to see how we're treating victims and including
that's
the
an
media,
important point.
That
And, let me get Himanshu Roy to respond to that. you know, I mean, does the role of the police in a sense end after you've solved a crime? Is there nothing that the police can do towards helping those who have suffered so much? In so many cases, we don't want to use the word victim, we want to use the word survivor, rape survivor, somebody who's gone through this ordeal. What can the police do to protect those who have gone through experiences like this?
Well, first of all, let me place it on record that in both these cases, we approached Majlis, which is Miss Flavia Agnes's NGO. They did a lot of work. They supported the victims in both the cases, and they provided a lot of emotional and psychological support. It was wonderful the way she did it. Having said that, I have no words of praise for Mr. Nikam and the way he has conducted the trial in such an exemplary fashion. And even though the three of us who sit here may seem to sometimes have views which are slightly not coherent with each other, in fact, all three of us have worked together in this case to bring it to its logical conclusion today. And I think you're right. There is a criminal justice system, and there is a psychological and a moral and an emotional support structure which is needed beyond that criminal justice system, which only society and NGOs can really provide. And I'm glad that there are good people in society to do this.
Mr. Roy, one last question to you. As you investigated this case, what were some of your biggest challenges? Were there stages when you felt that you wouldn't get those who've now been caught and who have now been sentenced? What were the biggest challenges for you and the men and women under you?
Well, as a proud Mumbaikar, we were all shocked that something like this can happen in a city like Mumbai, and that too in broad daylight. It had never happened before, and I hope it never happens again. But it happened, and we had to deal with it. The media pressure was enormous. Obviously, she's a photojournalist, so the media interest was there, the glare was there. She's a young woman, she had been violated, and all of that, and we needed to round up the accused quickly. We put all our resources on the job. The entire crime branch was put on the job, and we did catch the accused within 72 hours, and then started the collection of evidence, the forensic evidence, the technical evidence, the eyewitness accounts, and so many things which we needed to piece together and file the charge sheet in 28 days. So there was a lot of pressure on us, but at no stage did we feel demoralized or did we feel that we are not up to the task. As I have said before, we had a wonderful team of officers who supported this. Our special prosecutor, Mr. Nikam, has been a wealth of support through all of this, and I'm glad that today we are in this situation where we are talking about the successful prosecution of this case. I think it's a model case for the entire country.
All right, well, there is justice. The speedy courts seem to be working. Will there be justice for so many more women out there? Will this also encourage those who have been attacked to actually know that there is a process now which seems to be working? Will they come out and tell the police across the country about what they've gone through? Thank you so much for joining us and looking at the path towards justice towards those women who've been attacked in such a manner.